After this meeting, it'll be on time.
Okay? So
if you don't fill it out now, you can fill it out when you get
Okay.
Through the FRHSD website.
yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So, and James has been a big help to us in terms of how we've done that. But the idea here is the outreach nature of this, because we are also going to have certain small focus groups. We're going to meet with the superintendents from the regional school districts, the constituent districts. They are going to meet with us. We are going to meet with central office people. We are trying to find a way, and maybe you can help us in terms of outreach to the leadership people in the parent-teacher organizations. And we're also going to meet with the principals of the various high schools.
Marlborough doesn't have a principal.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Marlborough doesn't have a principal.
Well, what we're trying to do is reach the people in these roles. And we're trying to do all of that before we report to the board. Here's what we found. Here's what the patterns are indicating from your communities.
Excuse me, this is before you send out the ad?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And our position is that you can do that in a timely way. And it's really, in our judgment, a much more inclusive process where you ask first before you put the ad together and then ask later. Even though the likelihood of great variance in a pretty healthy school district is probably low, we still think it's important to ask. And so we've gotten a lot of assistance in terms of how we're getting this data from the teacher survey, the staff survey. We'll get the same from the community survey. And we think that by meeting with those focus groups, all of which we're going to do before we meet with the board, which is next Monday night.
Wow.
I'm concerned about the time. You can have enough time to do all of this because WASA has very limited time now. And we do not want any feedback from A1CP.
Well,
I said at the last meeting, it's gone.
Okay. Let me take one question at a time. We are here today. We're going to be here next Wednesday. We are coming back Monday. We've started to collect the surveys from the faculty already. We have an ability, thanks to the district's public relations people, James of which is here with us, to be able to look at the results of the survey, because we have found if you put the survey up and people know what the time is and it's pretty tight, that people will respond. And if it's a week, we can look at what those results are in a couple of hours, and then we can tell the board, here's what we have found. Here's what we have seen. And then engage with them in, here's what we have gathered. Here's what we think are the major patterns in this and the elements in this, and then engage in a conversation with them as the policy people. So what do you think? And that leads us to the kind of language that sets up the profile for what it is that will be sought in terms of the next superintendent. We're also going to meet with the principals because their schedules are not really compatible with trying to get all of them together in this period of time. So we've got a meeting scheduled for a week from this Friday.
There's two types of data. I mean, putting the ad together is the easiest, because if you've seen superintendent ads, I mean, they're pretty similar. They talk about the district and they talk about the qualifications. But the data that we're pulling together now is to develop the profile of what this candidate looks like. And that profile is much more extensive than just the ad is going to have. And that profile is important to us because as we interview candidates and we have the profile of the stakeholders, and that's everybody's, including the stakeholders, we can tell if it's a good fit, or we'll try to tell if it's a good fit between what the community and stakeholder profile looks like and what the candidates who are sitting in front of us look like. So that's why this profile and the data we're gathering now is so important. The ads are the ads. I mean, the ads you've seen are these columns ads, the size ad, and we'll talk about the different places that we're going to do that. And so the ad is important, but the longer, more extensive profile of what a successful candidate in this district will look like is extremely important to us. And that's why those data will take us a little bit more time gathering. And, you know, timing is timing. Obviously, the current superintendent is leaving at the end of the month. You're not going to have a new superintendent by the end of the month. Not that anybody thought that was going to happen, obviously. And you know what? As we said to the group today, it's better we take our time, get the right person. We may do the first ad just so we can get it out there and see what comes in. If we're not happy, we'll keep on going until we get a very, very qualified person.
He doesn't have any input. Waso has no input whatsoever in this, right?
Not with us. No.
Now and when he leaves.
Okay. But look, you know, well, Bill will talk about the process.
Yeah,
and
I'll
you'll
tell
see
you,
that.
he's been completely professional with us in terms of knowing that he's leaving and that we've been asked by the board. And so he's not asked us and we've not asked him to sit and talk with us. We're going to offer an opportunity for central office people as just another focus group to come and meet with us, and we're going to do this in this time frame.
Before or after retirement?
No, he said before Monday.
No, we're not going to do them before.
I'm like, before Monday? I'm like,
No.
Including administrators?
No. We're just doing tomorrow's
After they
meeting.
retire or?
Well, we are not, well, the question was about
I don't think salary
Dr.
goes
Wasser,
into that.
and I've said
He's not
that he's,
up.
well, excuse me, Mr. Wasser, Jim Wasser. Okay, that's a very sensitive.
Yes, it is.
We're sensitive about that.
We all are. We all are.
You're not.
You know,
Yeah, well, I am too, because I know, we both know. The question was whether the superintendent was meeting with us and was in any way influencing this, and the answer to that is no, because he's been completely professional about that. He understands that he's leaving, he understands that this is the responsibility of the policy people and the consultants with whom they're working.
Are either of you personally connected to any current superintendents or assistant superintendents friendly on, you know, outside socializing or any?
I know Mr. Boyce, who used to
No,
work for me.
I'm talking about, yeah, okay.
That's it.
Any of the others?
no, he's not a superintendent.
No, he's the
He is an
business.
assistant, I think he's still.
He's in
an
charge of
assistant.
business. He was he's the
But any
business
personal
administrator.
relationships?
None.
Because I read something like one of you used to be with a Freehold Borough.
Township. As I said, I was a superintendent for
So
Freehold Township.
did you have any contact or, you know, with Mr. Wasser at that time?
As much as I would
So,
Dave Abbott, as much as I would Dave Abbott, Enid Golden.
Ascending, right.
that was my concern.
Oh, yeah. Maybe if the question is, are we here conducting the search because of the superintendent, the answer is no. The superintendent wasn't even involved in
No, but we
the...
wanted just to know
I know that.
connections.
Well, no, he wasn't even involved in the interview process. But I understand your question, and the answer is no. Do I know him? Absolutely. Of course I know. I know his
Yeah,
numbers.
and what I'd like to do is continue to talk about how we're going to organize the search, and we're small enough that you can ask questions like this. We'll get to the end. We don't need to make it, wait until I get done and then answer the question. So we are doing all of that outreach because we have approached the board because we presented to the board that we think it is more advisable to reach out to talk with people, to gather information before you decide what the criteria is and how you're going to proceed with building the profile. And they have been completely in agreement with that. And so we are going to see them next Monday and tell them what it is that we have learned to that point. And we are going to tell them what the likelihood of this search being completed by certain periods of time and what you really need to do in order to be eligible to get someone, let's say, as early as January 1st.
Is that what their timetable is?
Well, they want to find the best person possible. And they would like that to happen as soon as possible, which is a very reasonable position for any policy group.